Hi guys, good time of the day. Today we got an interesting question. What is addictive brain? Is it genetic? Specifically, the person asked, my relatives had a drinking problem. Is it a concern for me? Is it a concern for my kids? This is the topic of our video.
Hi, my name is Joanne Austin, and I've actually been coming to Dr. Mongolin's office going on 4 years. I'm very pleased with him. He's a very good doctor, and he's really concerned about our pain and how we feel inside. He's very good at what he does, and I can totally feel the difference anytime I take my medication and follow his instructions. I will always be on the best path I can possibly be on.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Hagedorn. I've been coming to Dr. McGolin since 2011. He has helped me tremendously with different pain problems that I've had, and I am thankful that I found him.
My name is John Florallen. I came here almost 2 years, but I like it. I like the doctor service. I'm satisfied. I'm happy.
Hello, my name is Vicki Curry, and I've been coming to Dr. Mongolin for about 4.5 years now. And I am really happy to be here with him because he shows a lot of concern about my health, what's going on with me, and he gives me a lot of good advices and medications as well to help me. I appreciate the fact that I have him in my life. I don't know what I'd do without him. Thank you.
First, the puzzle of addictive brain troubled scientists for quite a while. We got some data. People do fellowship in addiction medicine and in pain medicine and some other specialties, and it takes years in school to fully cover this topic. However, I'll try in a very short video, gives you some tips that you can Google, you can build it, and give you some concepts. First, there is a difference. There is a change in a brain of a person on drugs and a regular person. And in order to understand it, we need to pay attention to 3 parts of our brain. The nucleus accumbens, or the pleasure or reward center. The ventral tegmental area. This is the primitive part of our brain, which is responsible for this vague drive. For example, if somebody sees a cookie or sugar or, hopefully not anything else, but something he really has a drive, subconscious drive to use. For some people it's coffee, it could be alcohol, it could be other stuff. The dopamine comes from this area, initiates this drive. And this center, as I said, gives you reward. And this part of the brain, prefrontal cortex, is a control center, right? And in a nutshell, what happens in a person with addiction, there is a problem or weakening of the connection between prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal is the part of the front, this is the eyes are here, right? That's the front of the brain. This part of the cortex of the neural part of the brain, and those 2 parts, primarily this part. In other words, the drive that comes gives a person pleasure, and it's not fully controlled by the conscious effort. It may be too simplistic, but at least gives you an idea. You can read more about it, and I'll say a couple of words of how it happens. We now understand that drug of abuse or any substance person gets addicted to gives unnatural stimulation or very high stimulation on those two areas. I said the VTA, the ventral tegmentum, that's the brainstem area that causes the person to have the drive, and the area of the brain that causes the person to have pleasure. And again, we said there is a weakening with the prefrontal cortex. There was a big debate how it happens, right? And actually, they discovered that it's called something prediction error, using Pavlov dog models and some other models. In other words, when person takes the substance the first time, and it gives him unusually high stimulation, unusually high pleasure, that trains the brain to look for this substance. That's when the learning occurs. And even paraphernalia, the setup in which it happens, also stimulates the brain. Now, it's also well known that as long as this stimulation continues, this is this nucleus accumbens here, which is increased or like enlarged on cellular level. What actually happens when it's stimulated, it secretes dynorphin, I'm oversimplifying, or some other substance that suppress this stimulation, and that's called tolerance. In other words, it's well known, the more substance, the more substance you get, the less if high or the less stimulation you get, and then it's a vicious cycle. It's called tolerance. You need more, and that's destructive. Now, is it genetic? Well, there is a strong genetic component to this, which is between 30 to 50%, or maybe slightly more. I'm talking about probabilities or chances. It's not one gene, it's complex. But it doesn't mean that, answering the question, it doesn't mean that if a person has relatives who are drinking or other addiction problem, he is destined to become an addict. Absolutely not. The same, I would say, true for diabetes. If your relatives have diabetes, you have high probability when exposed to certain foods or unhealthy lifestyle to develop diabetes, but you can mitigate this risk by either avoiding sugar, or having a good healthy lifestyle, and then you're not in danger. Or same thing for drinking. If you avoid setups that can expose you to alcohol or avoid alcohol, you're not at risk. It's even more complex because now we know that certain foods, not only healthy, but they can turn on and off certain genes that called epigenetics. And more than that, now we think that certain bacteria in your gut called microbiome can actually modulate your food preferences by secreting certain substances, including neurotransmitters, your immune system, and have an impact on your genes. Actually, more than 99% of genetic material in our body comes from this bacteria. So, in a nutshell, it's complex. Yes, there is a difference. Yes, there is a genetic component, but it still leaves us in charge. And if you do things right, there is absolutely no reason for you to be concerned. Thank you for this question.